So it's great to have laws, as we all well know, but really, if they're not implemented, they don't mean much. And so the challenge now is implementation. And so we've got the principles, we've got the standards, we've got the local laws at the AU level coming in. Now countries need stronger transparency, better oversight, effective enforcement of these political finance rules. And then, we are living in a fast-paced world, especially in data systems. So we have to ensure that our reforms keep pace with increasingly complex data and financing arrangements. And the reform is not just about regulation, right? It's about building systems that make politics more accountable, more inclusive, and mostly more trusted by citizens. So I think that what we need is, what's going to happen next? What we need is meaningful disclosure of campaign funding sources so that every politician has to actually say where they're receiving money from. Yeah. Transparent and well-governed public funding for political parties where appropriate, so that people are not just beholden on private funds. And then reforms to address the structural barriers that are preventing many good citizens from actually participating in political life.
Yeah. All right, my last question is, what message do you have for African leaders and citizens?
So why should we care about political financing? So in the end, this is about, number one, ensuring trust, public trust, and building a social contract between government and citizens by helping them understand how is political money raised and spent, ensuring that the rules are clear, allowing decisions that can be seen and questioned by the public, and demonstrating that everybody, even those without big money backing them, can have a fair chance to run for office. So what we want to see ultimately is that our public institutions serve citizens, not narrow financial interests, and that running for political office is not to be restricted by or beholden to financial patronage. Rather, we should be looking for the best possible people to lead our countries, people with talent, with good ideas, with integrity, with commitment to serve. Those are the qualifications. And lastly, I think political finance, it's not a task for governments alone. Political parties need to be involved, electoral management bodies, anti-corruption agencies, civil society, private sector, the media. Everybody has a role to play in protecting democratic integrity. And as I said, political reform is not just about regulating money in politics. It's a bigger thing at stake here. It's about building trust in the integrity of politics, expanding opportunities for inclusive political participation, and ensuring that public institutions remain accountable to their citizens. So my organization, the Open Society Foundations, we are committed to working on this issue with the African Union, with governments, oversight institutions, civil society on this agenda. And at the end of the day, the success of these efforts will be measured by whether people can trust that their politicians, elections, and institutions are fair and accountable and not beholden to financial patrons, and whether they can trust and see that public office is exercised in the best interests of people and the nation.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You've answered all my questions. And I have one question for myself.
Sure.
To be off the record. Which country are we seeing the most financial flows? And am I wrong to assume that, like North African countries, the more authoritarian countries have less big money flowing within their politics? Does that make sense?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the evidence on the second question is there. I think this is an issue that's facing all countries in Africa, and it's some of it is corporate interests, but some of it also is illicit monies. In Kenya also, just in terms of we're neighbors with Somalia, there's a lot of money flows. There's a lot of illicit and illegal flows of funds that are used to launder. People want politicians that are going to be beholden to them for whatever their agenda is. I don't think anyone's got the lock on this. But it's a good question. Do authoritarian governments suffer less from this? They probably suffer from, they're probably tightly controlling what monies come in. But again, I think you still don't have the space that you want to allow for people to really trust in their government. And ultimately, this is what political financing is about. It's about building trust between citizens and knowing that the people who represent you are doing their jobs every day without accounting to somebody else other than the public.